Alright, welcome back to Just Morpheus Gaming. I was going to continue my Let's Play, basically where I left off, which was trying to build out that well. I did want to make a note of a couple things from reviewing the video. I do need to be better about not dropping thoughts on the floor, so I will try to be more concise and clear through this playthrough. I do need to set up some of those bedrooms. You can do multiple, which is nice. So there just created 6 bedrooms for me, and my people will automatically claim them. I'm also going to set up another work order for creating more of these tiles. I do appreciate the accelerated format for knock out the quick builds. Drop down one more layer. Both my stone workshops are working. Knocking out those bookcases. Just having a little bit more personality, if you will. They'll also want like a dresser and a chest. And with that, their basic bedroom setup, and they'll be quite happy. I did make the bird boxes. Nest box. So I will move my hens down here for being able to get some eggs going. I also need to get shearing going. There's a bunch of things I need to get going. I'm not sure this is going to fill the little well area that I have here without working on it. So at this point, I'm also getting some chert as well as sandstone. Oh, people are thirsty, which is not good. I need booze. Did I actually not realize I ran out of drink? That is a quick way to get people grumpy. Come on, drink, drink, drink. My people are definitely keeping busy. One of my people has a crossbow. I do also need to set up a barracks, if you will. I was thinking I'm going to set up a actual area for dining. I failed that. Dwarves will not share a table like that. A table basically can only have one chair associated with it. Food. I was going to make a bar food and drink pile. And it is also handy to be able to have your mugs in the bar. So this is under finished goods. The type is going to be goblets. See if that actually gets me my mugs. I think it will. Now that I have booze, people are getting their drink on, which is good because I can't believe I let them get thirsty. And on that note, I will just set up an order for brew drink from plant. And I want to set this to repeat as long as I have plants to do so, storage material to do so, and not a lot of drinks. All right, 4,430. Barrels is what I need to automate. I am going to bump that to 4 and 4. Actually, maybe 6 and 6. I need this one greater than the other one. So as long as I have 6 on hand here and the other one will take 4. Because if I only had 3 on hand here, the other job would be paused potentially indefinitely. So it's just going to take a little bit of time. This looks promising in that it's generating enough water to actually fill the well. Just questioning if I want to do any type of management on that beforehand. Because I can run down here, put a door in, wait for this to fill, and configure it for a switch kind of thing. I might actually do that real quick because I want to be able to, I guess, dig the well a little deeper. And I'm going to try and put this with a make top priority. That is a DF hack feature. Which one of these is making my doors? So he's currently making the table, but I'll pick up the door next. I think somebody might have gotten an adopted kitty. I want to split my broker and my expedition leader, or the person that does the liaison discussion from my broker, because that will help clean that up. It also looks like maybe without filling this, it won't be enough to start to actually fill the main chamber, because it's starting to dry out before it can puddle. One of the things I was going to look to do next is I need to get gears up in order to be able to make a lever switch. The mechanic. Slowly coming together. I only have 6 drinks. It says the job is active. I'm gonna configure a few. So as far as I was gonna repaint my meeting hall so that it includes the whole area, minus the dining area. And then actually make a dedicated dining area. I think it actually did the whole room. It's overlapping, so I'm just going to have to manually paint it. A little janky to share like that, but I don't have my people their own like dining halls yet, so at this point they're definitely taking advantage of the temples. The sandstone blocks at this point are my main limiting factor. I'm still working on knocking out tables and chairs and getting my base stocks up. Should make a couple more wheelbarrows. I would very much like to be able to start shaping the land above me, protecting some of this farmland and actually getting my sheep and underground, if you will. Should have harvested that tree because now I'll have to replace it with a tile. Same with that one. And when I punch it, it'll start developing grass here because this will be exposed to the surface. I do want to basically try and claim this little chunk of land here for my own. I don't know why the mussels keep kind of coming and going. They almost have to be poking up through the sandstone pebbling. I've never seen that before. Somebody got stung by a bumblebee. There's a beehive around here somewhere. Since all my people are hauling, they basically came out to get all that wood, and I was just kind of looking at it, and it's raining. I probably should have not done that once again. Alright, now we have plenty of booze. One thing I was going to do is link the stockpiles. I want the bar drink to get its items from my other one. So take your items from our normal booze. I need to name that booze. So the bar drinks will pull from our main booze pile. I almost need to do the same thing for the dining food. At a certain point, I will automate the meals once I have more of a industry going on the meals. Next, it's going to do the zone for pen pasture. I want my hens to come down. My main, I think, meat industry will be bunny farm, if you will. But I am starting to get some extra sheep and cows. that spot underground fixed itself. It's no longer showing that there's empty ground there. Somehow that piece of wood is locked. Alright, where am I coming along on my other bedrooms? Getting more and more grumpy people, and they're actually getting grumpier. They did not appreciate going out into the rain. And like this guy, I can go into... Why is he grouchy when he was caught in the rain? That was a mistake on my behalf for sure. This stockpile I thought didn't have seeds. It shouldn't have seeds, so why did they just put those seeds there? And that's a whole pile of stuff. All my plump helmets are coming here. I can help, I guess, solidify some of that with putting plump helmets down here, next to the bar where I need them. And that's going to be plant, plump helmet. Why is he still out here? No job. At a certain point, it is a lot harder for me to be able to control that. Like they're just going outside for no apparent reason, but this guy has no job either. Some people do like to be outside or be able to go outside. Doesn't even look like they're tending the animals. I will start to get the animal tending up. Don't really have the room. At a certain point, I can just make room. Zoom out. I clicked the wrong button. I didn't even realize there was a zoom feature. I can like zoom out one more. Well, for how many hours I've put into this, I probably should have known that. One of the things with crafts, add new, I can start to make the toys and things like that, or even musical instruments. Let's see what I can actually make. Make rock toy. I do have some kids in the fort that would probably appreciate having some toys around. And was make rock short sword in there? Yeah, make rock short sword. So I like that in that I can now start to have my weaponsmith, I believe, make those. We'll see once the job comes due. I maybe should have made this a higher priority. I'm pretty sure I can wire that door still. We'll see. Have almost all of my building bedrooms up. Still have some more bookshelves. And I should put some tiling down on the main floor. One thing I can further do here is configure this stockpile for the number of wheelbarrows it can use. So right now there's only one person using a wheelbarrow on it, and I can configure it to be 3, which means 3 people start hauling stone to and from this pile, and it'll fill a lot faster. Early winter, and I just realized I've probably never set the rest of my things. So do I want to leave fallow or dimple cups? Those are really my only options for all of winter. These 2 are going to be my plump helmet beds for, I think, basically always. Having plump helmets is a necessity as far as it's my primary, or tends to be my primary source for making alcoholic beverages. So I have this one for pigtails, so I'll try and keep it pigtails. But I can only do pigtails in the summer and fall. So dimple cups, I only ever really need 1 bed, and even if I just do it in the winter, that should be plenty enough. You make dye out of it. So in spring, I'll do the query bush. This one's query bush. Do sweet pods, query bush. Here pretty soon I should get out of the main starting phase and start to get into some more of the interesting stuff. Because once I create the main bar, because I can actually do this now, I'm going to upgrade you to be a inn tavern. We have the Diner of Standards. Not a huge name fan, but assign a new existing location. Because I can now make this dormitory part of it if I wanted, but I'm not quite there yet. I have 19 population and I'm only housing 3, 6, 9, 12 beds. So yeah, not quite there yet. But 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 of my beds are I have 18 beds available. One of the things I was clearing this area for the next main workshop, I need to be able to do, under farming, it's the farmer, I need to be able to process thread. Don't have any sandstone available, so I'll have to manually click it. I want this to be pretty close to my sheep, so they'll have to like grab my sheep, drag them over, haul them down, shear them, and then the sheared material is going to go into a stockpile for sheared material. And this is material for threads. In some ways, this game has a huge amount of complexity. So under... It'll take me a minute to find this, so I pre-apologize. Here we go. So under refuse, all the hair and wool that I get, so like alpaca wool, one of my complaints about the game is that there's like unicorn hair. I can spin unicorn hair into thread and then I can't actually make like unicorn cloth out of that thread. There's only certain types of thread that can be turned into cloth. And that is one of my minor complaints about this game. So that is all of what I need for a place to store the hair from shearing my sheep. I next want to make a loom so that I can turn that into thread. Clothing. Sandstone. Looks like I have made some chert blocks. So I'll have to figure out something to do with that. Sidetracked, sorry. Sandstone, RS. This I thought happened to me the other day. Stone. Sandstone. Just missing the obvious. It's going to be grinding blocks for a while. This one's going to be grinding blocks for a long while. Rock bookcase, automate you. Still working on clearing this area in a weird pattern now. Do I have the spare doors? I do. One thing about setting the jobs is that if I don't spend the doors, I'm not going to make new doors. Weave thread into cloth. So automatic weaving is configured. Just wondering about setting something like, I want all my threads here. Cloth. And then yet another stockpile for cloth. This time I'll pick up the actual cloths. And depending on how granular you want to get, it'd be like, oh, here's my silk and here's my non. So at this point I can take all dyed and undyed cloth, and I should have actually set that for the other one too, I didn't realize, because I can pre-dye my thread. All my thread that is dyed or undyed will go in there. That being said, I will now take that out of my all stockpile, because there shouldn't be any cloth in here anymore. I was also in a way going to look to set up my leather industry here. I need a tanner, because when I butcher, I'm going to start producing hides that I then need to tan. Because if I do workshop, farming, the butcher, I can then make a stockpile. And back to this, I do know is refuse because it's hide, right? I want fresh raw hides to go there. Now I need to make a tanner, and that was under farming. And now that will produce me leather. I do have to be careful about being able to keep like rawhide underground. I have to process it almost instantly. Next up would probably be a workshop for leatherworking. Alright. Leather out of this one. Dwarf Fortress sucked me in and I ended up playing for about 2 hours, so I am gonna just do a voiceover cut and call it good for this episode, as I just finished setting up the main clothing industry, and I'll just pick up here on the next episode.